on my seat by 82%. Know this, I am gonna come through on a landslide just like Trump did. Know that I will be victorious.
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, and Thornton Township supervisor, has faced a significant setback that many view as the beginning of her decline in the political arena. Her recent defeat in the race for re-election as Thornton Township supervisor during a tumultuous Democratic caucus marks a dramatic turning point in her once ambitious career. Henyard has long been a polarizing figure, characterized by bold assertions of authority and relentless controversies that have plagued her tenure. This electoral loss not only ends her dual leadership roles, but also signals a broader shift in the region's political landscape. Trust in her leadership has steadily eroded over the years, undermined by criticisms of mismanagement, governance issues, and controversial policy decisions that alienated key constituencies. While her supporters often praised her as a strong and visionary leader, her detractors raised serious concerns about her lack of transparency, questionable administrative choices, and apparent detachment from grassroots issues. The recent Democratic caucus, marked by drama and vocal discontent, highlighted the depth of dissatisfaction brewing among local political figures and community stakeholders. Many rallied behind alternative candidates who promised change, accountability, and a break from Henyard's tumultuous governance. This pivotal caucus serves both as a symbolic and practical blow to Henyard, who had built her public image on being a transformative figure. Capable of wielding power across multiple roles, Tiffany Henyard's failure to secure re-election has left her isolated in a political landscape increasingly skeptical of her leadership and suitability for public office. Moreover, this defeat casts a long shadow over her future prospects in politics, challenging her ability to maintain the influence and authority she once enjoyed. Observers of local politics note that Henyard's fall from grace reflects broader frustrations with leadership that prioritizes self-promotion over community engagement. This highlights a collective demand for leaders who foster trust, inclusivity, and transparency. The implications of her loss extend beyond her career, signaling a potential shift in Thornton Township's priorities as incoming leadership seeks to restore public confidence and address long-standing issues neglected during her tenure. Henyard faces an uphill battle to salvage her reputation amid intensifying criticism and a dwindling political base. Her supporters grapple with a challenging question: was her bold vision for dual leadership undermined by external opposition or internal failings? As Thornton Township prepares for new leadership, Henyard's story serves as a potent reminder of the fragility of political power. The lasting consequence is a divided view of her leadership and the enduring expectation that public servants prioritize governance that genuinely serves community interests. Ultimately, the end of Henyard's tenure as super mayor is not only a personal setback, but also a larger turning point in regional politics, underscoring the struggle to balance ambition with accountability in public service. Henyard's troubles deepened when she failed to secure a spot on the Democratic ballot for the April 2025 election, due to a glaring technical oversight. Her slate of candidates for the Thornton Township supervisor position was incomplete. According to township rules, candidates must submit a full slate comprising a supervisor, highway director, clerk, assessor, and 4 trustees. Henyard's omission of a certified assessor led to her automatic disqualification, creating a golden opportunity for state senator and Thornton Township Democratic Committeeman Napoleon Harris. Harris presented a complete slate and adhered to the rules, allowing him to emerge victorious from a pivotal Democratic caucus, much to the dismay of Henyard and her supporters. This loss was far from an ordinary political defeat. It occurred during the first caucus in Thornton Township in 30 years. Traditionally, the township held primary elections, but Harris opted for a caucus, a move Henyard viewed as a calculated effort to push her out of the race. The caucus, held in Homewood, intensified the drama surrounding the election and marked a significant turning point in the township's political dynamics. The Flossmoor Park District Auditorium became the center stage for a high-stakes political showdown during the caucus, drawing hundreds of attendees. With the venue filled to its 600-person capacity, many of Tiffany Henyard's supporters were left stranded outside in the cold. The chaotic scene provided fertile ground for Henyard's accusations of voter suppression, as she claimed that logistical failures and the exclusion of her supporters contributed to an unfair process. The caucus came to symbolize a system she argued.
It's like, grassroots. It was organic when a lot of this things started at the township, where the people were, just showing.
Tiffany Henyard's humiliation dominated the evening's discourse, creating a surreal atmosphere that left a lasting impression on longtime Thornton Township residents who had not witnessed such political drama in decades. For nearly 30 years, Thornton Township politics had remained relatively peaceful under Frank Zuccarelli's leadership as supervisor, with his tenure marked by stability and a lack of significant challenges. However, his death in 2022 created a power vacuum, and Henyard's contentious ascent to the position elicited mixed reactions. Some saw her as a fresh face capable of revitalizing an outdated system, while others viewed her as an outsider with questionable intentions. Outside the venue, many of Henyard's supporters wandered aimlessly, visibly confused and frustrated. Some complained that her team had assured them their presence alone would secure her victory, adding to the absurdity of the night. One attendee remarked that the caucus felt like the culmination of months of tension within the township's democratic structure. "We came all the way out here for nothing," a disheartened supporter said, reflecting the widespread disappointment. Reports indicated that the auditorium had been filled hours before the caucus began, leaving late-arriving supporters stranded outside. Henyard's logistical missteps and combative demeanor only reinforced her reputation as someone ill-equipped to organize or lead effectively. The chaotic and divisive evening served as a stark contrast to the relative calm of the Zuccarelli era, underscoring the deep divisions within the township's political landscape. Napoleon Harris summed up the contrast between his approach and Tiffany Henyard's handling of the situation, stating, "We want to conduct this in an appropriate and lawful manner." This sentiment stood in stark opposition to Henyard's chaotic and contentious approach. Speculation about her potential recovery from such a public humiliation loomed large. While her threat to sue garnered media attention, political insiders expressed skepticism about her chances of overturning the caucus results. One observer remarked, "Losing credibility is more damaging than simply losing a nomination. How can you get people to support you when you've been so publicly humiliated?" Even Henyard's most devoted supporters appeared to waver, with rumors circulating that some of her closest advisors were distancing themselves, unwilling to be associated with what increasingly resembled a sinking ship. For those unfamiliar with Henyard's ascent to power, her brief, visibly agitated 7-minute appearance as the Democratic contender for Thornton Township supervisor spoke volumes about her narrative, one marked by ambition, scandal, and, according to critics, poor leadership. Following the death of longtime supervisor Frank Zuccarelli in 2022, Henyard was appointed to the role while simultaneously serving as mayor of Dalton, a position she had won in 2021 with over 80% of the vote. This dual role earned her the moniker Super Mayor, but also drew skepticism regarding her ability to manage both responsibilities effectively. Allegations of financial mismanagement further marred her tenure. Critics accused Henyard of misusing public funds, with reports revealing excessive spending on lavish dinners, personal security, and flights to Las Vegas. She allegedly used township credit cards for personal purchases at retailers like Amazon, Target, and Walgreens. In one instance, she reportedly spent over $4,300 on Amazon in a single day, raising serious questions about her fiscal responsibility. An investigation into Dalton's finances during her tenure painted a troubling picture. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot's review revealed that the village's general fund balance plummeted from a surplus of over $5 million in 2022 to a staggering deficit of $36 million by mid-2024. "This has been a grassroots issue," one resident remarked, reflecting the growing disapproval of Henyard's leadership. Henyard's autocratic leadership style has only fueled further dissent. At a village board meeting, she reportedly asserted, "You all forget I'm the leader. They want to hear from the mayor, not the trustees." Such remarks exemplified her harsh approach, alienating constituents and amplifying calls for change. As the fallout from the caucus continues, Henyard's political future looks increasingly uncertain. The evening not only underscored her personal humiliation but also served as a broader reflection of the discontent brewing within Thornton Township, a community ready for a shift in leadership and priorities.
One thing to win, but let's do it properly and let the people really have a voice. The people's voice was taken.
In the days leading up to the event, Tiffany Henyard made a last-ditch effort to rally support by using Thornton Township vehicles to transport senior supporters to the venue. However, her plan backfired spectacularly when the buses arrived late, leaving many of her backers unable to enter. This logistical failure quickly became ammunition for her critics, who seized the opportunity to highlight her apparent inability to effectively organize her own base. Frustrated by the backlash, Henyard responded defiantly, stating, "They just run their mouths. You all don't do any work." This remark alienated many of her colleagues, leading to frequent clashes with trustees and local officials. The atmosphere surrounding her leadership continued to sour as tensions grew. After her electoral defeat, Henyard's reaction was far from subdued. She vowed to challenge the caucus results in court, claiming the process was rigged against her. "I will be suing everyone tomorrow," she declared defiantly. Reflecting on her earlier success, she compared her initial victory to hitting the lottery, but now seemed to be grappling with the fallout from her leadership, or lack thereof. Henyard's attorney, Max Solomon, echoed her sentiments, alleging that Napoleon Harris manipulated the caucus process to his advantage and that the rules were fundamentally unfair. However, election law experts pointed out that the caucus system is legal in Illinois and has been used in various townships for decades, including Dalton, where Henyard serves as mayor. Residents have increasingly voiced their dissatisfaction with Henyard's leadership. At a recent village board meeting, many turned their backs on her as she spoke, a symbolic gesture underscoring her declining popularity. While her options remain limited, Henyard could still run for Thornton Township Supervisor as a write-in candidate, though such a campaign is widely regarded as a long shot. Despite the unfavorable odds, some supporters remain hopeful. "I think enough people know her name to write her in, and I believe we could still win it," said one ally. Adding to her mounting challenges, reports have surfaced that the FBI is investigating allegations of financial misconduct related to her administration. These investigations, coupled with her diminishing support, have cast a long shadow over her political future, leaving her prospects increasingly uncertain. Subpoenas have been issued for records concerning Tiffany Henyard's top aides, other village employees, and her cancer charity, the Tiffany Henyard Foundation. The charity is under scrutiny for failing to register with the state and disclose how it allocates donations. Calls for change in Dalton and Thornton Township are intensifying, with much of the criticism directed squarely at Mayor Henyard. In theory, light of these controversies and her recent electoral defeat, her future in public office appears increasingly bleak. Critics have expressed frustration with her leadership style, with one remarking, "She gave up 32 minutes to someone who doesn't care about anyone else's time except her own." This sentiment reflects the discontent felt by many. However, not everyone is reveling in Henyard's downfall. Some of her loyal followers argue that she is being unfairly targeted by both the media and her opponents. Why is it that they only ever attack Tiffany? What about the others? One commenter questioned. There are also claims that the criticisms against her are rooted in racial and gender bias. Yet these voices are increasingly overshadowed by those who see her removal as a necessary step toward accountability and transparency in Thornton Township. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. Tiffany Henyard's reign as mayor is over, and her potential political comeback remains uncertain. For now, her detractors are celebrating this moment of victory, while the saga of her political future continues to unfold, drawing significant public attention. What do you think about the caucus process? Was Henyard unfairly singled out? Does she have a chance as a write-in candidate?